So welcome to episode 8 of the Free Your Mind podcast. I'm going to start with a phrase today. A mind all logic is like a knife all blade. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but just in case you missed the point on that one or want my interpretation, the way I see that is if you have a knife with no handle and you're cutting things up, you're going to slice the shit out of your hand. It suddenly becomes quite an ineffective tool if it doesn't have a handle. It becomes a lot more effective if it does have a handle. And what I take that to mean is so many of us are living from logic, from intellect, from thinking, from trying to figure things out, from trying to predict the future, from trying to make assumptions around what the market's going to do, the economy will do, the stock markets will do, what people will do, won't do, what they will pay, what they won't pay, how much money we may or may not have, or what business is going to do a year from now. We're overusing logic to run our life. And I actually think that's the biggest cause of suffering and unhappiness and that lack of drive and motivation and determination, the biggest thing causing anxiety and overwhelm and overthinking and stopping us from being present. Quite simply, you get the message here, I'm sure, after listening to me for however long. The more we have on our mind, the more we tend to act like a moron. The more we have on our mind, the less connected we are to what it feels to be alive. The less connected we are to the ones we love, the people around us, the things we enjoy, our intuition, our creativity. So I have a client, and I'm going to use him as an example because I could be explaining myself when I tell his story. I could be explaining many of my clients when I tell his story. So, like me, I first got into this into business because I was not willing to settle. I was not willing to settle for an average life, a mediocre life. I didn't want to have someone to dictate to me when I could or couldn't go for a shit. You know, when I worked in jobs, it's like, where have you been? I've been for a shit. We've been 15 minutes. Well, are you timing my shit or what? Like, where am I, in prison? Or, like, I just didn't like that. Like, it didn't make sense for me to live that way, to have to work at certain times and to request holiday. But if Margaret had requested holiday as well then tough shit, James, you can't live your life. You know, I didn't like that way of living. I wanted to be in control. I wanted to be the master of my life. I wanted to take charge and live the life that I most wanted to live, because I recognized quite early on that life's for living. It doesn't mean I don't work hard. It doesn't mean that I'm not committed. It doesn't mean... But it just meant that I wanted a certain element of freedom and control. And the world largely didn't make sense to me. The way the world worked didn't make sense to me. Get a boring job that you hate. Buy things you don't like with money you don't have to impress people you don't like, whilst working a shitty job you don't enjoy, just so that at the weekend you can get off your nut and pretend you're happy for 2 days. That didn't seem like the kind of life that I really wanted. So what made me first come alive was this feeling of possibility and passion and limitless, that the world was my oyster. I could do whatever I wanted. I could create whatever I wanted. I could work hard in the ways that I wanted to create the life that I wanted. And whilst other people doubted that and wondered, you know, what the hell I was thinking, or didn't really see my way of living, or thought I was just a dreamer, or any number of other things, I knew that there was something inside of me that just wouldn't let me settle for anything less. And I loved that feeling of aliveness, that feeling of possibility, that feeling of motivation and passion and power, and like, wow, like this is fucking epic. But then what happens is you get into business, or I'm sure it happens, you know, in jobs and stuff like that as well. I've seen that too. And you start to achieve and you start to create things, and things start to feel not as enjoyable as you imagined. You thought it was going to feel better to live the life of your dreams. You thought it was going to feel better to have the things you can now afford. You thought it would feel better to have money in your bank. And sometimes it does, except for when it doesn't. But before long, life becomes quite serious. It becomes pressured. It becomes, I've got more to lose now. I need this amount of money to survive. I've got 3 kids and a wife now, and we need to pay this and pay that and pay this and pay that. And we should really be doing this and that. And I need to invest this much so that 25 years from now I can retire. And it all becomes very fearful. It becomes very logical. It becomes very... You're no longer playing to win. You start playing not to lose. You lose touch of what it feels to feel alive. You no longer take the risks that you once did. You no longer step into the unknown, standing on the edge of the unknown, thinking, I don't know what's going to happen here, but this fucking seems like a direction I want to go in. You start to second guess. You start to hold back. You start to shrink. You start to convince yourself that, but I should be happy with all of this. So why don't I just feel content? Why don't I just enjoy what I've got? Everything looks good. And you start trying to convince yourself as to why you should be happy with being complacent or being content. Because look at all of these things, and look at what my bank balance says, or look at what I have in my life, or look at the house I've got. And you start to try and convince and justify to yourself why you should feel alive, but knowing that you don't. Knowing that on some level you feel like you're partly asleep. And you look back with fondness at when you were young and naive, or what seems like naive, where you had this fire in your belly and this passion and this excitement, and you look back and you go, I miss that. But back then I had nothing to lose, and back then I didn't know, and etc. And in comes the kind of trying to figure it all out. And we start living from this place of logic that if I just do this and then I'll have that, and if I keep doing this for 24 months, then 24 months from now I'll have that, and if I keep investing here and that's 8% a year, well 25 years from now that'll be this, and if we save this money and don't go on this holiday, because we shouldn't really, because I could really put that money here, or I'm not enjoying business anymore. In fact, I find it shit. But if I just keep doing it for another 5 years, then when I'm 70, I'll have... And it all becomes very logical. It all becomes very... And from time to time where we dream again, if we dream again, because for the most people, they've actually put their dreams to bed. They're real grandest dreams, whether that's being rich, having a Lambo, whether that's traveling the world and getting paid to do it, or whether that's, I don't know, many different dreams really. We've kind of stopped dreaming the big dreams and kind of settled for the lesser dreams. Well, I'm still living a version of my dream life now, so this is good. I should be happy with this. But what we don't realize is we lose touch of that place within us. We lose touch of that creation. Our soul is dying, and the symptoms of that are we don't really appreciate what we've got. We do feel snappy, we do feel angry, we do feel frustrated, we do feel down, we do find our mind is more volatile, we are overthinking, overwhelmed, confused. Why aren't I happy, and what's wrong with me? And small things become big things. You start losing your temper because one of your staff did something, or because small things become these massive issues. And then normally from that place, we'll find that we try and make ourselves feel better with alcohol or drugs or buying things. That's fine. I'll just buy an even more expensive holiday because I can do that now. Or I can get a nice watch because that will make me feel something for 5 minutes. But what we're really searching for, in my opinion, is that feeling of aliveness. That feeling of possibility. That feeling of fearlessness, where I say fearlessness, but it's not that, it's courage. We're afraid, but we don't give a shit. It's like you take risks and you play the game and you enjoy the game and you win some and you lose some. And there are periods where everything you touch turns to gold, and there are periods where actually, all the plates you're spinning smash around. But you're hungry and you're full of desire and passion. And from that place you feel alive. And from that place you feel this peaceful, powerful feeling where actually, despite all of this, you actually feel more alive to life, more present with the ones you love, more peaceful, and like you're in touch with this deeper part of yourself that knows you can't lose. This deeper part of yourself that knows we've already won. We won by being born. We won by winning the race as a sperm in the first place. You know, you can't lose because you've already won. And really, outside of kind of being born, procreating and dying, everything in between is a dance that you get to do whatever the hell you want. This canvas of life that you get to paint the picture however you want. That's what made us feel alive. That's what makes kids feel alive. It's that playful, creative, limitless soul. It's our heart's desires. It's our dreams. It's our visions. It's that laughter, that excitement, that passion, that purpose. But as life gets heavier and as life gets more pressured and we start to live in our head more, we start to live in our thinking more, our head starts to win over our heart. And on some level we're dead. On some level we're missing that spark. We're missing that glint in our eye. Now, this may not make any sense to you, or it may make so much fucking sense. I don't know. But I know it's true for me, or was true for me. I know that it's very much been true for clients that come to me and say, I've got everything. The house, the cars, the wife or the husband, the money, the businesses. I should be happy, but I'm not. Or I'm not as happy. It's not that I'm unhappy, but I'm just not as happy as I should be. I just never feel content, or I never feel present, or I can never switch off, or I just never feel excited anymore, or I don't even know what makes me happy anymore. That's usually their symptoms. Because I think for people like us, if you do resonate, it is stepping into the unknown that makes us feel alive. It's saying, this is what I want. I don't even know how I'm going to do that. And people say, how are you doing this? And you say, I don't know. I mean, I can tell you now I've done it. Measuring backwards, I can tell you this is what I did, but I don't know. This is what I want. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't really know the steps, although I can overthink the steps all day long, or I can read 15 books and get so confused in the conflicting, contradictory information. But forget that. That's another topic. This is what I want. I don't know why. It just excites me. It makes me feel alive. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And I'm heading in that direction. And it is scary. And it is unknown. And I'm staring into the abyss. And I have no idea how it's going to unfold. But life creates these miracles. Life creates these beautiful synchronicities where people just walk into your life, or events happen, or that's that feeling of when everything you touch turns to gold. It's like opportunities land in front of you and you just say yes to them, and they turn out to lead you in the direction. I think it's Steve Jobs said that you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking back. And when you live from this place, that's kind of how it looks. I mean, really, if you're somewhere interesting right now in your life, when you look back, how much of it was logically created? There's probably some of it, for sure, or it appears that way. How much of it was stuff you couldn't predict? How much of it was gut instinct? How much of it come from your heart? How much of it was chance meetings? You know, I couldn't plan or goal set most of the good things that have happened in my life. It looks like I was in the right place at the right time, or it looks like I was lucky. That's not the truth. I was in the game. I was in the game to win, but with an open mind and an open heart, and open to possibilities and opportunity, and open to new insights and new understandings, and seeing something different. I was in the game. I was playing full out, and I was enjoying it. And then when these things appeared, I was there to truly see them. If I wasn't in the game, I wouldn't have seen any of it. I'd have been sat on my arse at home eating cakes, and do you know what I mean? Like, you have to be in the game, but that really is our job in life. Show up. Be the best we can in every moment. Be fully alive to the present moment. But also aware of the fact that we're not fully in control, but we're also not in control. There's a paradox for you. You'll notice with the things I say and with life, there are so many paradoxes. So if you're looking for the absolute truth, you're going to be lost already. Some things don't make sense and they're not supposed to make sense, or they don't make sense on a logical level, but on a feeling level, you go, yeah, fucking hell, that makes sense. So I guess what I'm saying today is, what would you do if you wasn't afraid? What would you do if you wasn't afraid of losing what you have now or compromising your current position? What would you do if you didn't feel the pressure of where you're at? And I don't mean go and gamble it all. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's what you want to do. But I'm not saying be stupid here. I'm saying this deeper feeling of intuition, this deeper gut desire, these deeper goals and desires and secret desires that make you feel alive. What would happen if you tapped into those? What would happen if you let go of the need to know? Let go of logically trying to figure it all out? What would happen if you knew that you couldn't lose? What would you do? Because you know that you've already won. I think that's all of the questions I've got for you. But that was a bit of a deeper, I don't know what that was really. Something deeper. You've probably come to understand that my role here isn't to give you the answers. I don't have the answers. No one does. In fact, the only person that has the answers is you if you look in the right direction. But most people aren't looking in the right direction. Most people are looking outwardly at life circumstances. They're looking outwardly to other people to have the answers. They're looking for the information and the how-to, but they're not looking inwardly at themselves. They're not looking within themselves at what they truly want, who they truly are, what makes them feel alive, their passion, and in the direction of what we've been talking about today. My only job here is to create insight, to pose questions. You can argue against me. You can turn me off. That sounds fucking weird. You can turn this off. Or you can sit with the conversation and ponder. Even if you ponder and go, yeah, do you know what? I've decided this James Blake has no idea what he's fucking talking about. Well, that's cool. Or you might go, actually, there's something in there that makes sense to me. All I'm ever really getting you to do is look inwardly a deeper mind, that insight, that realization, that a part of yourself that already knows. That's my job. That's all I've ever done. That's all I ever will do, and that's what I get paid to do. So I'm coming at you from that same place. And I know I keep repeating this, but it's because it's important. Don't listen for me to be right, or don't argue with what you think I'm saying. Just listen. And then see what's true for you. See what settles in for you. See what looks true and looks untrue. And that's about it. Anyway, pleasure as always. I appreciate you being here. If you are enjoying this, then feel free to share it with people. Feel free to leave a review. Feel free to message me. I always enjoy hearing how this has impacted people. That makes my life fun. So anyway, have an awesome one. I will speak to you soon.